A stunning decision today from the Casino Location Board as they opt against a casino in Orange County, which many thought would have been the biggest and perhaps most profitable casino proposals. I'm Andrew Whitman reporting in Albany. I'll tell you where they decided to place the casino in our region in just a few minutes.
And after years of delay, Governor Cuomo finally taking a strong stance on fracking tonight. New York is saying no to conducting the controversial practice in the state, while the governor's administration has decided to side with the opponents of this procedure. Plus, 2 years after the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School, parents in Newtown, they are taking action. They are suing the makers of the Bushmaster rifle here that was used to take the innocent lives of so many that day. Tonight, our legal panel weighs in on the federal law that these parents are up against and on whether or not parents have a good chance of winning their case. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, tonight, we're going to delve into a number of stories making news tonight, including the Cuomo administration's announcement to prohibit fracking in New York. It's a position that has taken the administration years to announce. We're also going to take a look at news on the international front today, taking many by surprise. President Obama today announcing plans to move forward with normalized relations, to a degree, with Cuba. We're going to get to that. But first, let's begin in New York, where today, as I said, a board tasked with deciding who gets to build new casinos in upstate New York has announced their decision. Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent, he joins us live now from the state capitol in Albany with more. Andrew?
Well, Rich, the reaction inside the room where the State Casino Location Board made its announcement, stunned. That as the panel decided that the one casino and only one casino would go in the Hudson Valley Catskills region, and that casino would not be in Orange County, but rather would be in Sullivan County, specifically the Catskills. Now, more specifically, the proposal that they accepted was the Montrain Casino Resort in the town of Thompson, that in the Catskills in Sullivan County. It features a $1 billion investment from Empire Resorts, an 80,000 square foot casino, a 390-room hotel, along with a spa, a salon, skiing, a water park, golf, and a slew of other amenities. That location is on the original property next to the old Concord Hotel, a now long gone legendary Catskills and Borscht Belt resort. It was appropriately placed, according to the panel, because their primary focus was revitalizing the Catskills, as they explained. They also said that explained their decision not to build a casino in Orange County, that a casino there would likely siphon off gamblers and revenue, and that would make it harder for the Montrain to be a success in Sullivan County. Now, after the decision, we heard from some of the board members of the Casino Location Board, and Chairman Kevin Law explained first why they picked the Montrain Casino and why they didn't pick a casino site in Orange County.
Two things. First, as it relates to Montrain, we believe that Montrain was the superior application of the ones we reviewed in the Catskills region. So that is the one. In terms of why we didn't pick two, the best way to describe it is, I'll give you an answer and then I'll give you an analysis. The best way, we thought for the sustainability of one casino in the Catskills region, to give it the best chance to succeed with everything that's going on in the state, in the surrounding states, was to not have another casino in the region. And so that's the primary reason why we did that. And to give you the analysis, when you try to do something big, or when companies look at a merger, you would hope that 1 + 1 = 3. At minimum, you want 1 + 1 to equal 2. In this case, we believe that 1 + 1 barely equaled more than 1. And so to give it the best shot of success, we chose 1.
Later, I asked Chairman Law about the decision to overlook Orange County and that seemed to be at odds with the formula that the location board had put forward that was 70% focused on things like revenue and job creation, areas where most people thought the Orange County proposals would be better suited. Here was his response.
Well, I just told you what the reason was for not picking any other in that region was to give Sullivan the biggest chance for success. Clearly, one of the applications in Orange was the largest net revenue generator to the process to the state. That's the one in southern Orange County. But it wasn't the sole criteria. It was part of 3 prongs of the state criteria as well as our own criteria to consider in the application. And that some of the casinos in Orange County had additional issues related to secret, related to environmental impact, related to community opposition, and related to financing. It was a conglomeration of other issues. It wasn't just a blanket exclusion of Orange. It was to have Sullivan County be a sustainable one, which was the original intention of the statute, to help distressed communities upstate, and then to give it the best chance for success. And then you could get into picking out all the deficiencies in all the other applications.
With the Montreal Casino coming to Sullivan County, I also caught up with the top man in the Sullivan County government, Scott Samuelson, the chairman of the county legislature. He was, as you might expect, the happiest man in the room. We talked about how ready Sullivan County was for the casino to be built there, as well as some other questions about how to turn the new casino location into stimulus for the county.
We've been looking for this for 40 years, over 40 years. We were the destination attraction or vacation area in New York State for years and years and years. If there's one thing that Sullivan County knows, it's hospitality and tourism. We're ready to go. Can't wait to start.
The last time we talked a few months ago, you were concerned that there might be a casino in Orange County which would siphon off some of the business.
Yes.
First of all, the decision to only place in Sullivan County, and second of all, the decision by the commissioners, or at least the announcement, that was one of the factors that they took into consideration. How important is that to you, and what's your reaction?
I think it's the most important thing. I mean, if there had been something south of us, we could never have built the energy that we needed to build. This is the perfect scenario. If it wasn't going to be 2 in Sullivan, this is the perfect scenario. 1 in the region, Montreal-Adelar. Absolutely perfect.
Towards the point that you made, you were hoping when we last spoke for 2 in Sullivan County. There is only 1 that's coming. Any disappointment there?
Of course. The developers are great people. We've enjoyed working with them. We had high hopes for them. It could have made a resort again. It would have been even bigger. But if it's going to be 1, I think the Montreal-Adelar project is the one.
One quick note, today's decision, not the final step in the process. It's just a recommendation. The application still has to be reviewed by the entire Gaming Commission. They will then issue a license to the Montreal Casino in Sullivan County. And at that point, the casino will have up to 24 months under the law to open, though most people expect it will open much, much sooner than that. We're live here at the state capitol in Albany. Rich, let's send it back to you in the studio.
Andrew, a few questions. For folks who watched our show last night, you went around some of those depressed areas and dilapidated casinos. We met with Mr. Samuelson in that piece, in fact, here. I get it. Those communities need something, and Sullivan certainly deserving, at least from a need standpoint, but that $1 billion plan, that's less than half of what the plan would have been in Orange County, and everyone you talk to believes geographically, other destination locations around it, Orange probably would have been the biggest bang for the buck. I saw the Orange County executive. I thought her jaw was going to hit the floor when this happened. To say the surprise is putting it mildly. What other rationales could there be for Sullivan over Orange?
Well, as we mentioned, the commissioner, or the chairman of the commission, Kevin Law, said protecting the prospects for the casino in Sullivan County was primary to his concern. But there were some issues with the Orange County proposals. They cited speed of opening, that there would have been some delays. For example, some new exits on the New York State Thruway would have needed to be built, or extending the Metro North. Those were considerations. There were also some local objections from groups in the Orange County bids, and that was factored in by the commission as well when they made the determination for Sullivan County. Rich.
How about politics, Andrew? We all know this is political. In fact, the decision and the timing of its release magically coincided after the elections in November. What else is going on here?
You know, as we showed in the piece yesterday, Rich, Governor Cuomo went to Sullivan County the day after voters approved this law in 2013 and said many times over, this will help Sullivan County, this will help the Catskills. I actually asked Chairman Law whether that was an influence in the decision. They insisted, the entire commission insisted, A, they were unaware of the comments by Governor Cuomo, and that B, politics or the desires of political leaders like the governor were not an influence on the decision. Having said that, they also said that they looked at the intentions and the spirit of the people who crafted the law, Governor Cuomo included, and tried to live by the spirit of it, and that's what they said led to their decision for the emphasis on local revitalization in the Catskills and in Sullivan County. So there was a little bit of no politics influenced this at all, and just a touch of, yeah, some politics influenced this, Rich.
Yeah, if people don't think politics was involved, I have a certain span in Brooklyn that I believe you could get for a great price. Finally, Andrew, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. Viewers of the show know what's happened to Atlantic City, 4 casinos shuttering there. Massachusetts on election day had a chance to basically reverse field on casinos, but they decided to keep the casinos and the plan for casinos in Massachusetts. We know what's going on in Pennsylvania, elsewhere. How much of the geography of the surrounding areas played into what we saw happen this afternoon in Albany?
Well, first of all, the overall health of the gaming industry, or the decline of the gaming industry, was something of a factor. That's one of the reasons why they wanted destination resorts, things that they thought would help immunize the casino that was proposed or that was selected today from the market forces that seem to be weighing against the entire industry. They claimed, the commissioners that is, that any desires to build in northern New Jersey, in Jersey City or in the Meadowlands, was not an impact or was not an influence, though they did make the point that Orange County could have hit difficulties from a casino that was located there down the road. Should also point out that we're now 7+ years away from the next time the state will revisit this issue, where it's possible that a casino could be proposed and offered in New York City, or that the racinos currently in Queens or in Yonkers would somehow be converted to full-fledged casinos. That was something of a determinant, and that did influence the decision to go with Sullivan County and the Catskills as opposed to Orange County. Rich?
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. And we are not done with Albany. We'll be coming back to issues on the subject of fracking there shortly. Andrew Whitman again in the Capitol. Now let's turn to breaking news out of Cuba today, where an American prisoner coming home and both countries moving towards normalizing diplomatic relations. It's the dawn of a new era in U.S.-Cuba relations.
These 50 years have shown that isolation has not worked. It's time for a new approach.
President Obama announced today the U.S. will end what he called an outdated approach to the communist island nation.
I'm now taking steps to place the interests of the people of both countries at the heart of our policy.
Those steps including reopening an embassy in Havana, high-level visits between the U.S. and Cuban governments, and easing some economic sanctions, including the long-standing ban on importing Cuban cigars. Now licensed American travelers to Cuba can come back with up to $100 of tobacco. The historic turn of events, it came after the U.S. and Cuba worked out a humanitarian prisoner release. The imprisonment of American Alan Gross, convicted by Cuba of espionage, had long been considered a major impediment to any renewed relationship between the two nations. But today, Gross was released and is now back home in America.
I'm incredibly blessed finally to have the freedom to resume a positive and constructive life.
The U.S. released 3 Cuban agents convicted of spying on anti-Castro groups in Miami in exchange for a U.S. intelligence asset who was detained in Cuba for more than 2 decades. Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, a Cuban American, blasted the president's announcement.
The Cuban people aren't any more free today than they were yesterday.
Now, the criticisms of this weren't just relegated to Republicans. The president, he's got a challenge here. He cannot end the longstanding economic embargo with Cuba. That's going to require congressional approval, which the president says he's going to now pursue. But he's got another critic on his hands. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez, who is of Cuban descent himself, says he's disappointed in this president's decision.
I think it stinks. I think it's wrong. I'm deeply disappointed in the president. I have been enormously supportive of this president, from health care to Wall Street reform to nominees to foreign issues that we have supported the administration on. And to hear that this has been in the works for over a year and have no engagement and no conversation and no consultation is pretty upsetting.
And I think he's putting his frustration mildly. When we come back, we will switch gears and we'll head back to New York, where there is a shakeup in the fight over fracking. For a couple of years, we've been waiting for the governor to make up his mind, and it seems he finally has taken a stand. After the break, we're going to hear from Hudson Riverkeeper president and attorney Paul Gallet. He's going to tell us what this move means for New York.